Everybody to this event. I'll start introducing myself before we go into the core subject for today. My name is Costantino. I am an associate professor at Politecnico di Torino. My area is hydraulic engineering. I currently work at the Department of Environment, Land and Infrastructure Engineering, which is the department that manages a couple of degrees I would like to talk to you today about. In particular, this event was organized to, let's say, back up open days, where normally students have the chance to talk to academics, mostly to know the details about the courses, the exams. They have the chance to attend in any degree, really, of universities. I was saying to back up these open days with a different view. So today the chance will be to talk with professionals. And I'm about to introduce two professionals, Cesare Castiglia and Alberto Comi, who are with us today. So the degrees we are going to talk about are the master's degrees. So we're talking about master level. Master's degree in Environment and Land Engineering, offered by the Politecnico di Torino and managed by our department. This master, let me share the screen to tell you just a little bit about it. Okay, I hope you can see it. So our master, this is the webpage of our department where you can find all the information you want about our teaching portfolio, really. Can I ask all the participants to mute the microphones, please? Thank you very much. I was saying this is the webpage where you find all the information. Is the webpage of the master's course in Environmental and Land Engineering, where you can have and see that we offer 4 tracks in environmental engineering, let's say. Environmental protection, natural hazards and civil protection, geoengineering, and climate change. And these last 2 are the focus of the event of today. So we're going to talk about environmental engineering with the geoengineering focus and with a focus on climate change. To do that, I would like to introduce our guests today. Today we have with us Alberto Comi, who will tell us more about all the opportunities and the details about environmental and land engineering with climate change. About the climate change track. Alberto owns a master's degree with honors in environmental and landscape sciences and technology. He's a manager within a EYCCASS Italy team. He will tell us more details about this company, a company based in Milan. After more than 5 years of experience, his professional focus is the assurance of sustainability reports and non-financial disclosures. Furthermore, Alberto has gained proven experience in the definition of sustainability strategies, environment, health and safety due diligences, and climate change related projects as per reporting and decarbonization strategies. Okay, so I'm very excited to have Alberto with us to tell us all the opportunities our graduates will find once they go and explore the outside world, outside of academia. And then for geoengineering, I'm very, very pleased to have with us today Cesare Castiglia. Cesare is a mining and geotechnical engineer specialized in project management of environmental and ground engineering jobs. Senior soil and rock mechanics consultant. Is a senior project manager, PM tutor and PMO, PMP and ICPM based certified. Okay, so these are all this is his background. His specialties are project management, geotechnical design, geotechnical monitoring, field supervision, rock mechanics, mining, tunneling, waste landfills, tailing ponds, rockfall protection. This is amazing. It's an enormous range of expertise within the area of geoengineering. So we look forward to ask him a lot of questions. Now, the structure of the event is just to have it a little bit more streamlined is divided in 2 parts, essentially. Okay, we will start we will start from the climate change track. We will talk about it. And then, so we will ask a few questions to Alberto, and then we will move to geoengineering and we'll ask some questions to Cesare, so that everything is structured. At the end of the event, of course, there will be time for questions from the public. That's no problem at all. I also, if the speakers agree, if there are some questions in interim, so while we speak and have a chat, I would suggest please feel free to ask them on the chat, and we will make sure to deliver them to the speakers. And we know we can now start our event. Let's talk a little bit about environmental and land engineering track climate change. Before I ask, and I'm very curious to do that, questions to Alberto, let me give you some really brief description about this track. Okay, so let's give a very short point of view from academia, from an academic. I teach myself into this course, so I can tell you, and also in geoengineering actually, so I can tell you a little bit what the students do, and then talking with our professionals, you will learn what they do once they graduate. Okay. Now, let me again share the screen. Okay, so you see we are back to our webpage. Let's click on climate change. In here, you will find all the information. There is a nice video on YouTube. I'm sure you will be able to see that. That's me introducing it. So what is the academic portfolio of an environmental engineer within the climate change track? Okay, before we look at the exams, which is an approach I don't like very much, but we have to do it at some point. Let's see what you guys will learn. So, and you can read it here, okay, together with me. So, and really, in a nutshell, an environmental engineer with a specialization in climate change is an engineer, first of all. So it's a person with technical skills, is somebody who is able to design, okay, and design solutions to problems associated with basically monitoring climate change, mitigation of climate change, and adaptation to climate change. Okay, these are the three pillars over which the entire degree is built upon. And then there is one other aspect that we are really proud we teach to our students, and it's the ability, which belongs really to adaptation, but I think it deserves a special focus, is the management of natural extreme events. Okay, so an environmental engineer with these skills of understanding the climate system and design solutions for adaptation, mitigation, and monitoring. Okay, you can find the details of the course program just by clicking in here. By the way, there are some other interviews in here that you can have a look at once you have time. But the details of the courses are explained in here. You just click on climate change. Climate change is totally delivered in English, of course. That's why this event is in English. And without now describing every single course that you see in this webpage, you can immediately see that there's a lot of focus on climate change. We have climate change mitigation exams, where you have climate systems, so a good and strong background on climatology. You have applied hydrology, so how much does it rain? How do we deal with water? Environmental fluid mechanics. How do we deal with pollution in a climatically changed environment? You will learn about landslides and slope engineering. Landslides are a big threat, for example, for the infrastructures. And this problem will be exacerbated by climate change. You have climate change adaptation. You have a very cool exam called the Innovation Lab for Climate Change, and a good set of elective courses. So the courses that you are passionate about, and you can choose in your degree. Okay, so these are really, in a nutshell, the details of what you are going to learn as a student. But now, Students, of course, study engineering not only because they're passionate about it, and we would like to have passionate students, so vocational students as they are defined, but also are interested about their life after graduation. What are the job opportunities? What's the world out there for an environmental engineer with a climate change specialization? Okay. And it is for this reason that now I would like to introduce to you to Alberto, the professional I was telling you about. So thank you, Alberto, very much for being with us. It's a great pleasure to have somebody like you answering some questions for our students. So we are very curious, Alberto, to know you a little bit more in detail. So can you please give us more details about the work that you do, which is very much focused on climate change, the problems you are facing every day and you are asked to tackle, and how does climate change enter in what to do, in what you do, please?
Yeah, thank you, Costantino. First of all, sorry for my face mask, but I'm in office and we are obliged to wear it for safety reasons, of course.
Don't
So,
worry. Do you have any? We can hear you really, really. The audio is a little bit low. If there's any chance, you can.
Is it better now?
Yes, if you
Okay.
raise the tone of your voice, I think that
Okay.
will suffice. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Okay, so I'm a manager in the climate change and sustainability services in Ernst Young in EY, and
Alberto, really, we cannot hear you.
I don't
There
know
is
how
some.
to. Is it better now?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, let's try this.
Hopefully, we'll keep that way. Please.
Okay, so I work in climate change and sustainability services in Ernst Young in EY. I'm based in Milan, and as you previously said, I'm focused on climate change related issues, but not only to this, because our team deal with sustainability issues at 360 degrees, let's say. So my team is focused on non-financial reporting, which include also climate change. Climate change is
Sorry, Alberto. This is really. I'm really sorry to annoy you, but we can't hear you. Can you talk louder, perhaps? Or you are in an open environment and you
Yeah,
are.
yeah. I'm in an open environment. Is it better now?
It is slightly better, yes, but I think raising the tone of your voice, it's.
Okay. Let's try like this. I'm sorry, but I don't know how to how to do it. Okay. So I was saying that climate change is one of the major topics we are tackling as a team in Ernst Young in the climate change and sustainability services team, but it's not the only one. We are dealing with non-financial reporting, both in terms of reporting mandatory by law and voluntary reporting, in which obviously climate change is raising its importance because, to be completely honest, until I think 2 years ago, climate change was not an issue for the Italian industrial, let's say, landscape. So the companies were facing other issues, and climate change was not on their top priority list, let's say. But then in the last 2 years, the topic raised as its importance. Obviously, the social movement, let's say, has had helped the topics to increase its relevance. And to date, it is one of our top priority projects with with the companies, with the Italian and not only companies. But then, other than that, we are let's say focused also in other pillars, other streams of work. For example, the definition of a proper and comprehensive sustainability strategy implementation for the companies we engage with. And another thing is the scoping of sustainability risks. And once more, until 2 years ago, more or less, climate change was not seen as a risk for companies, while nowadays it is, and it's in the top tier risks in more or less every industry of the country. So to be brief, we saw our work evolve in the last 2 years. My first question when I entered in EY, I asked to my manager, okay, but what do you do in climate change related issues? And they basically told me, to be honest, nothing, because the first wave of climate change in the late, let's say, in the first years of the new millennium was gone, and then the companies shifted their attention to other topics. Then, in the last 2 years, we review our business model because we have to tackle the new, let's say, the new requests from companies that are focused not only on climate change, but let's say it's a very trend topic right now.
Okay, this is great. Thank you very much, Alberto. Now, you say that climate change is a top priority for industry and for companies. Can you be more specific? Can you give us some examples on how climate change influences the business of, for example, your company, and how it drives the decisions taken?
Yeah, of course. The first thing is, I don't know if all of you knows EY, but we are a service company, let's say. But then, even if we are a service company, we commit in the fight in combating climate change. Basically, we start last year by committing in a carbon neutrality, let's say, commitment target, and then we review it at I think in the beginning of 2021, and we challenge ourselves, and we went and we actually go to a net zero strategy, going in parallel with a carbon positivity pledge. So basically, we want to compensate more than we emit. And this is where the market is going, because, for example, shareholders in their investment decision are considering more and more relevant climate change and how the companies are dealing with it in their investment decision. So it's not just a matter of engineers or scientists, environmental scientists, and scientists like I am, but it's something that are changing business models, because investors, shareholders, and stakeholders in general are moving into such topic, and they are becoming more and more technical on these aspects. While, for example, 2 years ago, if you ask the shareholder what is a greenhouse gas emission, they basically don't know and now it's something very relevant to them. But other example, I can tell you the story of some of our clients. For example, I bet you know all know Snam, which is the Italian gas TSO, the company that basically brings the gas from one part to another of our country. And they go public last year, at the end of last year, with their net zero carbon strategy. And it's not only, okay, we buy credits to offset our emissions and so on, but we change our business model. We are going to be an enabler for the entire country to decarbonize itself. I don't know, using hydrogen, using biomethane, and so on. So it's a complete change in their business model. Now they transport fossil fuels, fossil natural gas. Then they are going to endorse hydrogen, biomethane, and so on, bringing them to us, because definitely we are going to decarbonize Italy thanks to our, let's say, to our life model. And Snam, for example, could play a role partnership in partnership with the government in order to change and shift from fossil fuels to renewable one.
Great, thank you very much, Alberto. So, in a nutshell, this is the interesting thing, is that you say that, and this is absolutely staggering. I mean, a couple of years ago, climate change was a concern for sure for scientists, perhaps even for society, at least for some parts of the society. In 2 years, or in a few years, let's say, he has become a top priority for many business models, and so for many companies. So clearly, this suggests that there is a growing market in industry for experts in climate change-related aspects. People who are able to report, to compute carbon emissions, to find solutions to diminish carbon emissions, and so forth. So this is very reassuring, I suppose, for our graduates. So apparently, the job market seems to is about to flourish. This is great. So thank you very much.
Thank
Alberto.
you.
That was
thank you.
Very interesting. Now I would like to ask to the attendants if there is any question, students or anybody else, to Alberto, or about the track in climate change. Please feel free. This is a very informal meeting. Okay, there seems to be no questions so far, but there will be more chances at the end of the meeting. Now I would like to then to talk a lot about the other track we are interested about today, is the track in geoengineering. Sorry, there is a question for Alberto. I will read it. So, Mr. Comi, which subject you focused more in your master to reach the position you are at?
My master degree was focused on, let's say, atmosphere physics and chemistry. I also had a course on climate change, but it was a residual one, let's say. It was more on physics and chemistry of the atmosphere.
Okay, Zara, do you have any other question you would like to ask to Alberto? No, thank you. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And thank you for asking. That's great. We like to keep it interactive as much as possible. I was introducing the next topic is going to be about geoengineering. So as I've done for climate change, I would like to tell you a little bit before asking questions to Cesare. I would like to give you a little and very short overview of this master degree. So let's see. Just give me 1 second. Let me take it. All right. We are in business. There we go. Okay, should be able to to see the page for environmental land engineering. So now we have seen climate change. Let's talk about geoengineering. Geoengineering, this is our web page, and you see there is already a tunnel. So an underground infrastructure. And you can tell immediately, this is a rockfall, these are stunning images. So geoengineering, Cesare perhaps will correct me, but in a nutshell, is really what brings together, an engineering background, so quantitative analysis of let's say, the typical aspect of engineering is to provide quantitative analysis, so physically based analysis, which is then coupled with all the knowledge and the expertise belonging to the geo world, so geology and geotechnics, okay, which is probably the overlap between the two disciplines. And a graduate with a specialty in geoengineering, you can read it yourself from these learning outcomes that we plan to achieve with our degree. So a graduate in geoengineering will be able to plan and interpret in laboratory and on-site investigations like tests of geomaterials, geophysical hydrology, hydrogeology, and topographic measurements. So a person who is able to take data, to crunch these numbers, and find some solutions to design underground infrastructures, of course, or to manage rock and soil engineering problems linked to construction and maintenance as well of the infrastructures. You've seen a tunnel as an example. Not only that, you will learn also how to organize and manage major infrastructural works with an eye on the impact on the environment and human life. Okay. Design, manage, and organize sustainable use of natural resources. You see, this is a degree in geoengineering for sure, but is under the umbrella of environmental and land engineering. So words like sustainability and even climate change in here are always present. So it's definitely, again, a technical, an engineer with technical skills, borrow to understand, manage, and design all the infrastructure that interact with soil, essentially, but also with a strong competence and good skills related to environmental related problems. Okay. Again, the course program for geoengineering track, you can find it on this easy link. You click on that, you go to geoengineering, and you can see all the exams you will be exposed to. Again, you will have, applied hydrology, environmental fluid mechanics, which I teach. But then you see now all the others have really a strong geo root, let's say, let me use this word, excavation, engineering, resources, geology, applied geomechanics, landslides and slope engineering, that's obviously key. Geophysics, remote sensing. You see, again, environmental engineering design, so we don't lose sight on environmental problems, okay? So it's not only geo, it's also environment. Underground works, foundations, and of course, you will have also the chance to choose the courses you are most passionate to. And there is also for any degree, any master degree, then a final thesis you will have to do. So, given this background, so this about geoengineering, I would like to ask Cesare now a few questions to know more the point of view of a professional on these courses. So Cesare, you graduated at our university, if I'm not wrong, in geoengineering, and have an enormous experience as a consultant engineer. So can you give us, an overview of a little bit better than what I did of what is really geoengineering from the point of view of a professional like you?
Yeah,
so what do
sure.
you do? And also, why is it an exciting job, as I strongly believe it is?
Yeah, of course. First of all, can you hear me loud and clear?
I can hear you loud and clear.
I'm on a mobile. I was in the field. I'm at the client's place, and I'm actually using the room here. So I don't know if the audio is perfect, but I'll try that way.
We can hear you very well. Thank you.
Super. So yeah, I graduated 21 years ago. That's quite a while. I think that geoengineering now is more or less what I studied back then, or maybe an improved version of what I did study, because things tend to get better with time, especially in engineering. But in a nutshell, what you explained of the core of geoengineering is exactly how I perceived it when I was studying, is basically trying to build the background where the world of rational engineering learns how to deal with the irrational world of geology and environment. Compared to other lucky kinds of engineers coming from the electrical or mechanical world, where everything is what you design because you are making your own world. In geoengineering, you are dealing with something that you cannot control, either geology and its history, or environment in a large sense, so that the water, surface water, groundwater, or resources which are there and you want to take them, but they are not necessarily where you want them to be. So it's basically a kind of engineering that can adjust itself to the real world. And that's sometimes requiring to force the laws of engineering to be somewhat more flexible than engineers themselves would like them to be. And it certainly overlaps with other skill sets, the skill set of hydraulic engineers, of geotechnical engineers coming from the civil world, and geologists. And on a larger scheme of engineering geologists, we don't have such a skill in Italy by training, but certainly there are engineering geologists by education, or vice versa, actually. And so, since everybody at some point has to deal with the environment, they kind of align themselves on this being geo professionals, let's call them. The geoengineer that I was dreaming to become when I was at the university was for sure, like you described, somebody with a so vast skill set to be able to design large infrastructure, large underground works, and game-changing engineering works. And well, I think at some point in my career, I kind of touched that. But in general, you don't quite subscribe a university course because you want to be a world leader, but in order to gain a skill set that will open possibilities to you. And those possibilities will change with time and with age and with market. So I'm sorry, I can't predict what it's going to be like when the guys that are following now that want to select their university career will graduate, because I'm not sure I can predict the evolution of the market in 5 to 10 years, because it's so fastly changing that you will have to adapt yourself to what's out there by the time you get there. This is meaning that, just to give you some examples, the University of Turin will give you tools, and then it's going to be about your flexibility and your bravery at some point to use those tools for your good. And this means that you can start as a site engineer, so you will have the tools for that. So to go after a construction company, to be hired to go to the field and do field works, or you will have the skill set to work as a design engineer in a design company, or even the skill set to start your own business as a consultant or designer. That's going to be the beginning. And the rest is something that university can't quite give you, and it's going to be your sensibility and your engineering judgment. That's something you will gain with your experience. And the best there is to try a bit of everything, to be field engineer for a while, design engineer for a while, and a consultant for a while, work on your own, or work for a company or even a multinational company. And that's going to open to you all the doors to pursue your dream in life, and your dreaming for your careers. That's basically how it works. The driver for a geoengineer is always the curiosity and the love for challenge in dealing with nature, whatever it is. So some engineers might find more relaxing, more, how can you say, more controllable working in an environment when you make the rules. The geoengineer works, in a framework where the rules are made by nature. So you will need to work with geologists, with earth scientists, with physics, with other people we can make your skill set broader, because I don't think anyone can put together a skill set big enough to deal with all the uncertainties of nature. So the geoengineer by nature is generally part of a teamwork, where other specialists will put information together to solve the problems. And I've been quite confused so far. That's probably me, but I hope I'm giving you some insight of what's going to look like.
Absolutely, Cesare. I think you touched a very important point, which I forgot to tell, and thank you for reminding me. Cesare said very, in my opinion, important words. He said, I cannot predict, what's going to happen in 5-10 years. Okay, so say when you will be an established, if a student now enrolls, in 2 years will gain a master, and in 5 years will be well into the job. And this is a problem we are facing nowadays. I think one important aspect of our engineering degrees is to train students with transversal skills. So skills that you can reuse on whatever problem you will be facing on. Okay, and this is very important. You will see that in all our degrees, really, in environmental and land engineering, we focus a lot on giving you those skills like data analysis, programming, like presenting results, design, drawing. All these skills are important, are skills that it's impossible to teach you everything or to prepare you to all the problems you may be encountering in your future, but it's very possible to teach you so that you learn how to learn to solve problems. Okay, you learn a method, the engineering method, and you learn how to solve problems, and that comes with not with specialties, but with the learning the engineering approach. I think this is extremely important. Now, Cesare, it is true that definitely we cannot predict what's going to happen in 5 years, especially in this period, historical period, where everything is changing so fast in any topic. But clearly, we can talk about what's happening right now. Okay, as we speak. What are, in your opinion, the job opportunities for geoengineers? So where do they go and work? What are the type of companies or that would hire a geoengineer, and what do they do?
Okay, let's imagine a profile where the geoengineer is rather like a blank sheet straight out from university, maybe with a master thesis complete, some extra perk in some direction. But let's take a general geoengineer, fresh graduated. What I've been seeing for 10 years now is a strong international tendency of clustering of big multinational companies, which are multi-service companies that deal with the sciences of earth, environment, and geosciences in general. Compared to when I graduated, which was still, well, what I could see was still the world of late 90s engineering firms with like 100 employees, being very local. What I've seen is a huge series of mergers and acquisitions that nowadays brought presence in the international market of companies with more than 50,000 employees, multinational, and talking about companies like Ecom, like ERM, like WSP, you name it. I mean, you can find them on the internet. It's large companies that provide all-round turnkey services, engineering services, where geoengineering is a piece of the puzzle. So say you are a multinational company looking for, I don't know, in manufacturing, looking for a consultant that's going to fix your environmental problem, that's where you go. And those are the guys that the big players will hire. So those companies are always looking for geoengineers because they provide a wide range of services, and that's what the geoengineer is trained for. It's not generally, as opposed to other kinds of graduates, the geoengineer is not a complete specialist of one specialty, engineering specialty. He is more like a jolly person that you can employ in any of your projects. And that's good because those companies are not making a business model where repetition is king. So every project is different. When you read my CV, it's not like I like to make it fat. It's just like I rarely did the same thing twice. It's not good in a sense. It's just a different way of making your business. Repetition helps if you really want to go deep into one thing and make it perfect. Perfection is not quite the aim in geoengineering because you have to adapt. Sometimes you cannot reach perfection because it doesn't quite fit the case where you are. So yeah, those companies always have different projects, and you need to understand a bit of everything. Also because your team will speak languages which are different than yours. You will have to speak with two geologists, understanding what a geology is indicating to you, and you will be able to translate your engineering knowledge to a biologist who doesn't have the background. So geoengineering is quite the perfect profile for that. For interacting with other professionals. And that's one part of the world. It's actually a big part of the market, but it's not the only one. You can also choose not to work for those big players. And there are a lot of smaller businesses that will hire you mostly for the same reason, because either you are targeting a company that only design tunnels in soil, there are those, and who are probably looking for a soil mechanics specialist to do concrete verification of that. But that's how you start. You're not going to do that for your lifetime. And or even in small businesses, it's much easier to find your position and do a bit of everything. Like when I stopped working in a multinational environment, I started my own business. And basically since then, I've been receiving all sort of inquiries from my clients that never look the same. I'm working for clients in the waste businesses, in the mining business.
Yeah.
I'm working in the environmental remediation. And I got some of those tools at the university, and the others I got during my practice. And that's basically what the geoengineering becomes after a while.
Great, and this is I think again you mentioned a couple of interesting words. I suppose it's it's not a boring job, because you said I never did the same job twice, so it's very
No, it's not
rapidly
boring.
varying.
It's the opposite. It's
Yeah,
sometimes
exactly.
I would like to have sometimes an area of comfort when I can relax and just recycle what I do, because that also brings in extra incomes. If you recycle what you are, it's more efficient, economically wise. It's a good business model. But the reason that my actual reality is that every time you're studying, you are researching.
Yeah.
Because there's always that extra piece that you're missing.
Yeah. And the other word I'm happy to hear is interdisciplinarity. Okay, so you need to talk with many people with different backgrounds. You need to learn about how they think and what they do, so to extract also their knowledge, which is it's the signature really of environmental engineering, is by definition multidisciplinary. Okay, so this is probably another trait of the degrees we are talking about.
Yeah, if I
So
just can add
now
something on that.
Yes, please.
You saw
Yeah.
in my bio sketch a lot of mentions about project management.
Yeah.
There is a point in your life of professionals where you actually switch from crude engineering to actually manage broader projects. But that's again something that exploits the tools that you have been given as a geoengineer, because projects per nature are multidisciplinary. So as a project manager, you will have the tools to actually put together a team of different specialists and still understand a bit of what they do, at least enough for managing the team. You will never be as specialist as they are, but you will have the tools to understand what's going on.
Right.
So that's one of your career openings.
Thank you very much, Cesare. I think that was very interesting. Time flew. I was looking at it's already 8 to 3, and but it's, when you talk about interesting things, that's what happens. I think there's still time to see if there are some questions from the audience. Please feel free to ask. You can either use the microphone or the chat. There you go. There is one question to Alberto. What kind of challenges, Alberto, should the new graduates expect entering the current job market? Is there I believe in the climate change track. Is there a particular skill set the companies of today are searching for climate engineers?
The second question, the answer is probably no, because today there is a lack of competencies on climate change, and companies are keen to, let's say, to hire professionals and young students and new graduates who have knowledge on such topics, because the challenge is truly too big for them if they have no knowledge inside or with consultants. Also, as EY CCAS team, we are struggling to find new valid resources and valid guys on the market. It's very difficult. So there are plenty of opportunities, and what to say about the challenges? The challenge is climate change itself, because we have to develop new solutions to tackle the climate change, because the most recent agreements are speaking about setting up targets that prevent global warming up to 1.5 degrees with respect to pre-industrial levels, and we are now to 1.2 degrees. So we are mostly there. So the challenge is to help countries, companies to meet such targets, for which me, my team, but I think the whole world has not developed the proper solutions, and this is the main challenge.
Yes, I totally agree. I think the challenges are clear. I think, in my opinion, in all the companies know they have to reduce, climate altering gases, the emission of such gases. They have to find a way of, circumventing these problems. And I think they need young engineers for sure. That's one of the graduates they're interested in, to actually find a solution.
Yeah.
There is another question. Do the companies actually meet the target every year? Well, I think this is a little bit awkward, not awkward question. I mean, it's a genuine question, but
yeah, it depends.
It depends. It's a very politically correct. Very good, Alberto. Very good. Very good. Any other question, guys? Yes, absolutely. Tommaso, please use the microphone. Go ahead.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Absolutely.
If possible, I'd like to ask a question to Mr. Castiglia. It's more of a personal choice, so I don't know if it's relevant to all the participants, but
good.
I would like to take the occasion. I'm a bachelor student here at Politecnico of Torino. I'm trying to choose for a master degree between geotechnical engineering and geoengineering, which I see in the presentation today. I'd like to work in the field of tunneling and underground caverns, both in design and especially in the construction stages, which I find quite amazing and interesting. So if it's possible for you, could you tell me the difference between the two profiles, what the companies are looking for this? Because I see some overlapping subjects between the two courses, so I'm a bit struggling to understand if which path to choose, which is the best path to choose. Because, for example, at the end of my question is that, for example, environmental engineering, I see in this field of geoengineering, I see more of a climate and environment, let's say, orientation than the pure structural orientation that I see in geotechnical. So, if it's possible for you, thank you.
Sure. It's very subtle, at least from my standpoint now. First of all, I want to say, don't be afraid of making the wrong choice, because whatever you choose, the range of opportunities that we'll find, it's more or less the same. So you're not cutting yourself off opportunities by choosing either of the two. For what I've seen, mostly in colleagues and people I hired when I was in the position of doing so, is that the people with a master in civil engineering, geotechnical, they have a little stronger civil engineering background and a little stronger understanding of complex geotechnics. That's because they basically get 1 or 2 exams extra, both in concrete sciences and in geotech. That's something you can probably fix in later on. While for the geoengineering, they tend to have a bit stronger understanding of geology. That's from their background, and a bit stronger understanding of techniques in the terms of how actually things are done in the field. That was said to me by a professor in Milan. He was professor of foundation engineering in Milan some years ago. When I introduced myself to him, he said, "Oh, you come from Turin, you come from geoengineering. You are one of those guys that actually know how things are done." And so that's the subtle difference. There's a more practical and geological approach in the geoengineering, while the civil engineering is stronger in soil sciences and civil engineering kind of calculation side, seismic engineering. That's something that both profiles can, I would integrate in the first year of your career. So when you're a geoengineer and you find that yourself in a position where you are hired to do the job which will probably you think would belong to a civil geotechnical engineer, you will have enough time to study and fill your gaps. I don't know if it was clear.
Yes, a little bit more clear. Thank you very much.
Just choose whatever is more comfortable for you based on. I mean, you have to pass those exams. So
Sure.
if you prefer a bit more of geology and practical, go for geoengineering. If you prefer something more theoretical and stronger in the civil, go for civil.
So you'd say that, for example, if I'd like, I don't know in which field, if I'm going to start in the design or in the construction stages, like on site with company, I don't know yet in which field I'm going to throw myself. So you say that, for example, if I'd like to be more on the field and following the construction stages, it would be better the geoengineering profile.
Yeah.
Okay.
In the first years of your career, then you will develop the skills that you're missing, and in a few years you will look the same.
Okay.
So you will be interchangeable with a civil engineer.
Okay. Thank you very much. You've been very kind. Thank you.
Thank you, Tommaso, and thank you very much, Cesare, and of course Alberto. I think the event went beautifully well. We had lots of very interesting insights, and some participants looking from YouTube are saying thank you. So they enjoyed, and I enjoyed, and I hope you too enjoyed this chat. Time, unfortunately, is up, so it is time to say goodbye. I thank all the speakers. There is one message. Can I ask the speaker whether they are available for one last question from Alessandra? Yep. Sure, please, Alessandra.
Yes, I want to ask a question for the climate change curriculum, because I've read all your subjects and are extremely interesting. But I want to know this, because I think that they are a lot about monitoring and forecast the effect of climate change. But I would like to know if with this course, I have the competencies to tackle climate change. Will I be able only to forecast the effects, or do I have the competencies, for example, to stop a landslide, or to tackle the scarcity of water? I want to know how practical this course is.
Okay, clearly you are not Alessandra, I suppose.
No, but, sorry, it is another name, but I'm
what's your name, sorry?
Emanuele.
Emanuele. Okay, Emanuele. No. I think it's if you look carefully to the climate change track, you will see, I mean, that monitoring and forecast is just a little part, I would say, of the course. You will have, for example, you will have renewable energy courses where you will study how to, to essentially to reduce greenhouse gas emissions through the use of green energy. You will have mitigation courses which are about storing CO2, so the design of storage systems. You will have exams on landslides, on how to stop them, how to prevent them, how to identify them, and how they are related perhaps with climate change. So really the forecast is on, you will learn how to study the climate system in climate system, which is one of the exams. And there are some courses on, for example, on surveying, surveying glaciers as a tool to monitor climate change. But that's really only one bit of the whole story. So I think the point I'm trying to make, no, it's very practical. We do a lot of field work. We go to the lab as well. So it's quite hands-on. Yeah, it is practical. It is technical. I hope I answered your question.
Yes, thank you.
No worries. There are many questions. Elisa, is there any problem if we go over time? Elisa? No problem. Okay, thank you. So we have a question from Deepak. Is there a possibility to pursue further study, for example, like PhD pursuing climate change engineering? But of course. I mean, as a university, we do offer PhDs in our doctorate school, and there's a lot of people dealing with climate change in our department. And not only, I mean, in the whole of Polytechnic, there is an energy department, for example, at Politecnico di Torino. So there will be many opportunities. And look, climate change is a hot topic. This is the truth. It's a hot topic everywhere. So there are lots of PhD opportunities in Italy, here with us, and abroad. Plenty of opportunities within climate change sciences and engineering. Okay. No problem at all. Okay. Doesn't look, I think we could, I mean, I don't want to steal more time to our very kind speakers, Cesare and Alberto, whom I thank once again for their availability. It was great to have you here. I learned a lot, and I hope we can repeat this. It was very, very successful. So thank you very much, and thank you very much to all the audience. I hope you enjoyed it. And so goodbye to all of you. Elisa, shall I just interrupt the meeting, or are you going to do it?
I will close the classroom, no problem.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.